The night everything changed began with a single sentence that made the air around me feel thin. Have you ever had one of those moments when your heart seems to stop for half a beat? When everything around you slows down and you suddenly feel like you are outside your own body, watching your life unfold frame by frame? That is exactly what happened to me at my wife's company Christmas party. What started as an awkward comment turned into one of the most unforgettable moments of my life. But to understand why it hit as hard as it did, you need a little of the story that came before it. Sarah and I had been married for 3 years then. We were still the kind of couple people smiled at, the kind that made people say, "You two still look like newlyweds." And honestly, in a lot of ways, we were. Even after 3 years, I would still catch myself looking at her from across a room and thinking, how did I get this lucky? She was beautiful, yes, but it was more than that. Sarah had this rare combination of intelligence, drive, and warmth that made people gravitate toward her without even realizing they were doing it. Her dark hair always seemed to fall perfectly. Her eyes had this way of making people tell the truth around her. And when she smiled, whole rooms changed. She worked at a major tech company, and she was good at what she did. Not just competent, exceptional, the kind of exceptional that gets noticed quickly. She had been climbing fast, which meant late nights, high-pressure meetings, constant networking, and more company events than either of us really wanted to attend. Usually, those parties were harmless, a little boring, a lot of forced laughter and expensive appetizers on tiny plates. But this one felt different from the start. It was the company Christmas party, held at an upscale downtown hotel, with sparkling chandeliers, polished floors, and servers moving through the crowd like they were choreographed. Sarah had been tense all week because several executives from the main office were flying in, and there were rumors everywhere. Promotions, restructuring, big decisions. The night of the event, I was getting ready in our bedroom when Sarah walked out of the bathroom, and I swear the room went still. She was wearing a red dress, not bright or flashy, deep, elegant red, the kind of color that did not ask for attention but got it anyway. Her hair was pinned up, exposing her neck and shoulders, and she carried herself with that easy, quiet confidence that made me fall in love with her all over again. I must have been staring because she laughed and asked, "Is it too much?" I remember shaking my head like I had forgotten how words worked. "Too much?" I said. "You look absolutely stunning." When we got to the hotel, the energy in the room was sharper than usual. People were dressed better, the music was better. The conversations had a restless edge to them. It felt less like a holiday party and more like a room full of people trying to impress the future. Sarah was pulled into conversation almost immediately. That was normal. I did what I always did at those events. Stayed nearby, got myself a drink, and hovered just enough to be present without getting in her way. I am not a jealous person. I have never wanted to be the guy who monitors every glance or turns into a problem because other people notice his wife is attractive. But about an hour into the night, I noticed a man across the room, and something in me tightened. He was tall, probably mid-30s, dressed in one of those expensive suits that looked like it had opinions. He had that polished, overconfident grin some men wear when they are used to rooms bending toward them. He was talking with a small group, but his attention kept drifting to Sarah. Not subtle glances, not harmless interest. He was staring. I told myself not to overreact. Sarah was in a conversation with her manager and a few coworkers, completely composed, completely professional. But then the guy started walking toward her group, and I found myself watching every step. He slid into their conversation with the kind of ease that instantly irritated me. From Sarah's posture alone, I could tell she was being polite, but only just. He leaned in too close, laughed too loudly. She kept making tiny adjustments to create space between them, and he kept closing it. That was when I started moving toward them, not to start anything, just to be there. As I got close, I heard him say something about how the most interesting people at parties are always the ones who look like they would rather be somewhere else. He was looking directly at Sarah. She gave him a tight, controlled smile. "Actually, I'm exactly where I want to be. These events are great for connecting with the team." He chuckled in that overly familiar way people use when they are trying to skip past boundaries and pretend it is charm. "Come on," he said. "A woman who looks like you on a Friday night? You're telling me you wouldn't rather be at some exclusive club or romantic dinner?" I saw the change in Sarah's face. Small, but unmistakable. Her professional mask slipped just enough for irritation to show through. Before she could answer, I stepped beside her and rested a hand lightly against her back. "Hey, babe," I said. "They're about to start that raffle you mentioned." It was not smooth. Not even close. But it gave her an exit. Her whole face softened the second she saw me. "Perfect timing," she said, leaning into me slightly. Then she turned to him. "Brad, this is my husband. She put just enough emphasis on husband to make her point clear. Brad looked me up and down in one of those quick, dismissive assessments men do when they are deciding how much respect to give another man. Then he smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Husband, he repeated slowly, like he was trying the word on for size. Interesting. I don't think I've seen you at many of these events. I'm around, I said. Usually just cheering Sarah on from the sidelines. She's the star. I'm mostly here for the free food. I kept my tone light because I wanted the moment to die there. It did not. Brad kept looking at Sarah. Well, you're a lucky man. Sarah here is impressive, smart, successful, and clearly. He let the pause hang. Absolutely stunning. The words themselves could have passed as a compliment. The way he said them could not. It sounded possessive, personal, like he was performing for an audience and testing how far he could go before someone stopped him. I felt Sarah go still beside me. Her coworker, Jennifer, who I had met before, shifted uncomfortably. The people around us started going quiet in that subtle way groups do when something has gone wrong, but nobody wants to be first to acknowledge it. I was about to say something polite but firm when Brad raised his voice just enough for nearby people to hear. So I have to ask, he said. Forgive me if this is forward, but is someone like Sarah actually married? Or is that just what we're calling it? He even made air quotes around the word married. Everything around us seemed to drop in temperature. A few conversations nearby stopped entirely. People turned. Sarah's fingers tightened around my hand, and I could feel the slight tremble in them. Anger, embarrassment, maybe both. Excuse me? I said, sharper than I intended. Brad lifted his hands in mock surrender. Relax, Matt. No offense. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. A woman like this? He gestured towards Sarah like she was something being presented. At the peak of her career, gorgeous, successful, clearly in demand. When someone says she's married, I just wonder if that's really the situation, or if she's just being polite. My face burned, my fist tightened so hard I could feel it in my forearm. And before I could say something I would regret, Sarah stepped forward. Not dramatically, not angrily. Just half a step ahead of me, with the kind of stillness that makes a room listen. When she spoke, her voice was calm enough to be cold. Let me make something very clear, Brad. She did not raise her voice, but it carried anyway. I am married. Happily married, to this man right here, who is kind, supportive, and treats me with respect, which apparently is something you don't understand. Brad opened his mouth, but she did not let him interrupt. And since you seem confused about what marriage means, I'll explain it. It means I chose him. Every single day, I choose him. Not because I lack options, not because I'm settling, not because I'm being polite. She tightened her hand around mine. I choose him because he is the best thing that has ever happened to me. By then, the entire space around us had gone silent. So no, Brad, she said. I'm not single, I'm not available, I'm not interested. And frankly, your behavior tonight has been inappropriate and disrespectful, not only to me, but to my husband and to everyone here who had to watch it. I looked around and saw people frozen in place. Jennifer looked like she was trying not to grin. A few others were openly nodding. Brad's face had gone dark red. I was just joking, he muttered. No need to be dramatic. Sarah did not blink. No, she said. You weren't joking. You were testing boundaries, being disrespectful, and making people uncomfortable. And now everyone here knows exactly what kind of person you are. Then she turned to me. And just like that, the ice in her expression melted. Her hand rose to my face, and she touched my cheek with this quiet tenderness that nearly undid me. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, she said softly. I'm sorry anyone had to. Then she kissed me. Not some exaggerated movie kiss. Just gentle, certain, meaningful, the kind that says more than a speech ever could. And the room exploded. Actual applause, people cheering. Someone shouted, "That's right." Jennifer was clapping like she had been waiting all night for permission. Then, Sarah's CEO walked over. For one brief second, I thought the whole thing might somehow become a problem for her. Instead, he looked directly at Brad and said, in a voice so calm it was final, "I think it's time for you to leave. HR will contact you on Monday." Brad started to protest, but one of the female executives stepped beside the CEO and cut him off. "You heard him," she said. "Leave now." Security escorted him out while he looked completely stunned and humiliated. The second he was gone, the energy in the room changed. Sarah's coworkers came over almost immediately. People told her she had been incredible. Several admitted Brad had made them uncomfortable earlier in the evening, too. A few women quietly thanked her and said he had made similar comments to them before she shut him down. Apparently, he was some rising star from a potential partner company, which explained the arrogance. It also explained why nobody had challenged him until Sarah did. The rest of the night felt unreal. People introduced themselves to me properly. They told Sarah how much they respected her. Her CEO pulled us aside to apologize and said, very directly, that the potential partnership was off. Then he told her he was impressed by the way she handled herself. He even hinted that the kind of leadership she showed that night was exactly what the company looked for when it promoted people. On the drive home, Sarah held it together for about 10 minutes. Then she started crying. Not out of sadness. More like every ounce of tension from the past few weeks finally had somewhere to go. I pulled over and just held her. I can't believe I did that, she kept saying. I can't believe I said all of that in front of everyone. I can, I told her. Because you're the strongest, most incredible person I know, and everything you said was true. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and asked quietly, "Did you know that's how I feel? That I choose you every day?" I laughed a little because my own throat had tightened. "I hoped so," I said. "But hearing you say it like that in front of everyone, Sarah, I've never loved you more." We sat there for a long time, talking and laughing and shaking our heads at how absurd the night had been. When we got home, we stayed up until nearly 3 in the morning talking about everything we had not fully said in months. Her pressure at work, the feeling that she always had to be perfect, the exhaustion of being brilliant and still having to deal with men who thought they were entitled to test her. That night opened something between us. It made us more honest, more solid, more aware of how deeply we were on the same side. And the aftermath did not end at the hotel. By Monday morning, the story had spread across her company. Sarah got messages from people in other departments, other offices, even people she barely knew, thanking her for what she had done. The company used the incident to push stronger harassment training and policy changes. And Sarah got the promotion she had been hoping for. Her CEO told her later that her professionalism under pressure and the way she took control of that moment had shown exactly the kind of leadership they wanted at the next level. As for us, we came out of it stronger than ever. That night reminded both of us of something simple and easy to forget when life gets busy. We chose each other, and we keep choosing each other. I would never want to relive that moment in that ballroom. I would never want to feel that cold drop in my stomach again or hear a stranger reduce my wife to something he thought he could claim with confidence alone. But I am strangely grateful for what it revealed. It showed me exactly who Sarah is when the room gets ugly. Fierce, clear, loyal, unafraid. And it showed everyone else too. So yes, someone loudly questioned whether my wife was really married at her company Christmas party. And the room absolutely exploded. Just not in the way he expected. It exploded with truth, with respect, with consequence, and with the kind of love that does not need to shout to be undeniable. Some people are taken not because they have to be, but because they want to be. And that makes all the difference.